live. We have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and that, of course, makes this the lifeboat. How are you? It's, let me see, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Another fun-filled night on the lifeboat. We're going live. Happy to see all of you here. People, the last couple of days have been great, haven't they? From a host standpoint, the more engaged the audience is, the easier it is to do a decent show. You know what I mean? If you guys are really into it, then the show becomes something that goes on autopilot. There's very little that we have to do when the audience is really engaged. There's very little that we have to do as hosts. And if you go back far enough, you'll come across, hold on one second, people. You'll come across a couple of shows that I'm not blaming anybody, but the audience was not particularly engaged for whatever reason. I mean, maybe even my fault or Mark's, who knows? But the audience wasn't particularly engaged for whatever reason that night. And boy, it's like tap dancing. You know what I mean? You're up there doing the show, trying to keep everybody at least from hanging up. You know that you don't know whether or not they're watching, because they certainly are not very well paying attention or following along. And on those nights, you know, those were the things that we were talking about the other night, where it's not nearly as much fun, you know, and you just sort of have to get through it. It has not been that way in, I don't know, it feels like a couple of weeks, you know. Lately, the audience is really engaged. Last night, you know, after the live feed, my bobbleheaded partner and I were talking, and if it had got to the point where you guys were leaving, I mean, just maybe one more comment a minute, we probably would have had to slow the chat down, which is just, I mean, obviously it's not in our best interest. We would like the chat to keep cooking, but the fact that we had to be considering it just says some really amazing stuff about, you know, just how much everyone was into it. And the comments that everybody was leaving was, you know, just, it's gold. Every single thing that gets said is something that every person here can absolutely learn from. And you know how I know that, people? Because I'm one of those people. And so is Mark. And the two of us are absolutely, we're walking away with gems. There are things that you people are saying that are going to stick with us for a long period of time. So it's, it's just been fun. There's no other way to say it. It's just been fun. And so tonight we're going to talk about hope, right? Hope is a subject matter that I have beat to death here on the lifeboat. Truthfully, I have. But if you look back there, it says hope anchors the soul, right? They've got a plaque on the wall with a large anchor on it. And it is an absolute fact. But the reason that we're going to be talking about hope tonight is not just because I was in dire need of a subject. Although there are those nights, make no mistake, there are nights where we're just sort of like, oh man, what have we not talked about in a long time? But then there are times where something that happens to me during the day changes whatever I'm going to be talking about at night. And for me, those shows are always the best, because it's something that obviously I've been thinking about all day, or it's something that I'm, far more engaged in than, just one of the normal run of the mill. Hey, I'm Tommy. Welcome to the Lifeboat. Tonight is one of those episodes. I was reading a study. I do a little bit of prep for the Lifeboat. There's really kind of no way around doing prep work. Or I could come here every night and just do a show that I think stinks. But if I do that, chances are, we're not going to get the same kind of results. In theory, I would like everybody to be engaged and at least listening to what I'm saying enough to where you guys can talk amongst yourselves. That's the goal, right? So I do some prep. I do some show prep, and usually that entails me reading a lot of stuff that is all related to sobriety. And I was reading about a study that was done in the 60s. Now, if you've been on the Lifeboat a really long time, you'll remember when I did something called, which wolf are you going to choose? The white wolf or the black wolf, right? Because I did a show where I talked about something I had read on a plaque that was near a trailhead that you can go on federal land in a park and go hiking. And I got multiple emails and text messages from people who said, that's animal abuse. Oh, for the love of God. I was quoting something that was on a plaque. Trust me, I never hurt any animals. But this study is going to involve treatment of animals that may not be the best. However, the point is salient and needs to be talked about. So please don't send me an email telling me what a bad guy I am. I got a little furry ball laying next to me all the time. Follows me everywhere I go. I love animals. But in the 60s, they did a study with dogs. And these dogs were put into these small enclosures. And there was a way out of the enclosure. It required them basically pushing on a device that would open the door. And they kept the dogs doing this for a period of time until the dogs were trained that if I put my paw here, this opens the door. And then the experiment started. And there were multiple different rooms with multiple things going on. And in some of them, when the dog would touch that device, they would get a shock. And obviously, the dog is only going to do that once or twice, 3 times, whatever, depending on the dog, before it says, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this whole shock thing. And then they will just shut down and no longer try to get out. But in one kennel, there would be, 2 or 3 shocks that the dog had to endure. And on the next time around, that door would open. This kept going down in each kennel. In the last kennel, it didn't matter how many times the dog hit that. They were never getting out. They would get shocked, but there was definitely no chance of egress. They were never going to leave the kennel. And over a period of time, the dogs would get rotated into different positions. But an unusual thing happened. The dogs that had been in the kennel on day one, those dogs that knew that it doesn't matter how many times I touch this pad, that door is never going to open. I'm going to get shocked, but it is never going to open. They would put the dog in there the next day and the dog would lay down. The dog had come to the conclusion that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this little box, or maybe somebody will come and get me, but there's nothing I can do to get out of this. Because in one day, that dog was conditioned enough to realize that there was no hope. The dogs that had gotten shocked 3 or 4 times the previous day, and on the, say, 4th or 5th time the door opened, those dogs would get shocked 100,000 times if necessary. Because that dog knew that eventually, no matter how much they had to put up with them, no matter how much hurt was going to take place, eventually that damn door was going to open. We're the same way, people. I was reading this study and I was going, holy crap, if this is not just a study in addiction. Because we're the exact same way. I used to be that dog, right? I used to be that dog. And worse than that, I knew those dogs. I had a friend that was a Vietnam vet. I talked about this guy in the past. He's since passed away. But I remember once during one of my attempts at getting sober, I was getting ready to go down to a methadone clinic, and I had a decent amount of money, and I really wanted to get off of heroin, and methadone was going to be the way that I was going to do it, because I knew that cold turkey wasn't going to be an option for me, and that had never worked. So I was going down there, and I said to this Vietnam vet, "Come with me, you can come to the clinic with me." And he said, "Nah, man, no." He's like, "First of all, I couldn't afford that." I said, "Well, you're in luck, because right now I can. And I got enough money for the both of us. I'll cover everything. All you got to do is drive down there with me. And, it's 30 minutes and you'll be on methadone before we get out of there. You'll have your first dose, and the first week's paid for. I'll pay for the first 2 months, 3 months, just until this thing gets rolling." And he said, looked at me and he went, "Nah, dude, there's no chance of that." And I'm like, "I'm going to pay, there's nothing you got to do, bud. All you got to do is get in the car. Just be up tomorrow morning at 8:00 and I'm going to pick you up." And he said, "No, man, it's way too late for that." And I was like, "Man, it's not. What do you mean it's too late?" And he said to me, I know how that ends. He's like, "Yeah, I might do it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks." He's like, "Then I'm going to want to get high and I'm going to quit taking the stuff, because I really can't do both at the same time and catch a buzz. And I know me, man. It's too late for me." And this was a guy just like that dog. He knew that no matter what happened, there was no hope. You understand? People, when you give up hope, it's all over. There's really nowhere to go. That's the end of the road. And I've gotten emails from people, and you guys have read messages from people on the lifeboat who are there. There are people for whom they have given up on hope. They really have. They'll say things like, "Well, I've tried this 200 times," or, "Maybe I'm just one of those guys that can't do this," or, "You know what, I'm stupid," or, and they just tear themselves down because they feel as if no matter how many times this process shocks them, they're never going to see that door open. They're never going to walk through it, and they're never going to be free of the monkey that they got on their back, that for the rest of their life on this planet, they're just going to have to get up every day knowing that they need a fix or a drink or whatever, the case may be. I'm here to tell you today that that's horse crap. You hear me? I don't care whether there was a time in your life or not when you took enough shocks to see that door open. I don't care. For real, I don't. Because I was that guy, right? Mark was that guy. Pick anybody in the crew, and they were that gal, or they were that guy. We all felt the exact same way. We felt like there was no hope. The best thing about hope, for real, it's like a freaking fungus. Once it starts on you, it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to permeate every single aspect of your life. Once you realize that I can get sober, I can do this. Once you realize that you can put that demon in the rearview mirror, that's just the first of a whole bunch of demons you're going to start going after. If you doubt me, take a good look at Alan Ballantyne, right? Alan he has done one show with us, and he's going to do another this Saturday. People, put that on your calendar. We're going to be doing another interview with Alan Ballantyne live from Australia this Saturday. But you could pick a show. Alan could do the weight loss show. Alan could do the methamphetamine show. Alan could do the show for booze, for alcohol. Alan could do the show for hopelessness. Honestly, any one of these things. You know why? Because Alan figured something out, that the only thing you need is hope and desire, right? You dedicate yourself to something and you can do it. It's not a cliche. It's not, my Tony Robbins rah-rah speech. It's a damn fact. There's nothing on this planet that you can't achieve, but you can't achieve squat if you don't believe you can. If you've given up hope, you're screwed. I'd like to believe that what we do here is peddle hope. I'd like to believe that what the lifeboat does is give hope to people that might not have any left. The saddest thing in the entire world are people for whom hope is no longer there. Honestly, can you think of anything more sad? Here was a guy, a Vietnam vet who went and fought for our country, came home with a heroin habit. He said to me, I was scared. I was scared. He's like, you couldn't see where those people were, but the bullets just flew from every direction. He said, I was terrified. And the only thing that made it go away was heroin. He's like, I did more and more and more of it. And then one day, his war was over and he got to go home, and he couldn't leave that behind, right? And into China, that followed him home. But that was a man who over 35 or 45 years of doing heroin lost all hope. I mean, think of the opportunity he had. I said, all you got to do is get in the car. I'll pay for it. You're not going to be there alone. We're going to go through this together. We'll laugh. We'll clown, right? We'll have a good time. Come down with me. I got this. Man, all you have to do is get in the car. You got nothing to worry about. I'm taking care of this. No, Tommy, not for me, man. It's too late. Have you found yourself saying it's too late? Have you? Have you found yourself saying, you know what? Not for me, man. It's too late. I'm never going to be able to get out of this. Because if that's where you're at, you need a very serious evaluation. Where you're at and what your belief system is. Because I'm telling you, people, it's one of those situations where all addicts, for whatever reason, believe that we're the worst addict that ever lived, right? There's never been anybody that did more heroin than me. Keith Richards would have looked at me and said, slow down. You know what? I'm wrong. I mean, I say stuff like that. I guarantee you there was somebody out there with a worse habit. Have I met him? No, I haven't. But that doesn't mean that he ain't out there. I promise you, there's somebody out there that abused him more than I did. But if I'm able to do what I did, and I didn't walk on water, people. I'm not a saint. I'm not a guru. We talked about this last night. Nothing magical about Tommy Scoville. I'm just a guy that sits in front of a camera and talks about sobriety. But I'll tell you something. I was a lost cause. I was as bad of a lost cause as you would ever want to come across. And if I can do this, and by this, I mean, put it down, right? I'm no different than everybody on the boat. Neither is my partner. We're here every day, just like you, trying to get 24 hours more sobriety under our belt. That's our life. Now, I'll be honest with you. The longer that you do this, the easier it is to get 24 hours under your belt. The longer that you hang out, the better off you are. The longer that you can go without that drug in your life, the easier it gets. The less bad days you have and the more good days you have. That comes with time. In the beginning, people, obviously, it's tougher than it is at a year in, which is tougher than it is at 2 years and 3 years. And I can't tell you past 7 yet. People haven't got there. But with every passing day, I feel like my sobriety is more anchored than it was the previous day. There was a comment when I started to talk today, and it was left by Niall Parkinson. And Niall said that he believes that hope has a lot to do with forgiveness. I couldn't quote the exact comment because I was, in the middle of my rant. But I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. No joke whatsoever. This is, I've got bullet points. I got 3 or 4 bullet points that I write down. I keep it on a little card sometimes. And, those are the kind of things that I want to go back to.
I'll read it to you. I'll read it real quick.
Yeah.
Hope is based on forgiveness. There is no other reason to use it.
Well, you know what? And maybe we'll debate that tomorrow night, because I think that there are other reasons to use that. However, I do believe wholeheartedly that forgiveness and hope go hand in hand, because when you've lost hope, there's a big reason for it. And that reason is that you can't forgive yourself for all of the things that you've done. And when you give up hope on yourself, it's because you live in the past. And when someone lives in the past, it is almost always caused by guilt. Bent Genetics, really good to see you here, my brother. Always great to see you. Hope you're doing well. When you live in the past, people, hope is something that dwindles. pick your favorite lifeboat cliche, right? You're not going to, you can't live your life if you spend all of the time in the last chapter. There's a reason that big piece of glass in the front of you is 15 times bigger than the rear view mirror, right? Because we're supposed to spend most of our time looking forward, not looking back. Pick one. There's a ton of good cliches talking about the future versus the past. But I think that when people give up hope, it's because they live in that rear view mirror. They absolutely live in it. And last night we talked a lot about the 5% of what happens to you in life and the 95% of, how you react to it. And I think that's also something that ties into this directly. When you give up hope, why is it? Well, it's because you live in the 5%. You absolutely live in the 5%. The things that happen to you get blown into massive crises of biblical proportion. You can't keep things in perspective. I got a good story for you, people. Today, I was chatting online with someone that I love, really, really love. And the chat was getting deep. We were getting into some really heavy stuff. It was one of those fun conversations where by the end of it, you feel like maybe you have moved forward a little bit in life. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm learning something. This is deep. This is heavy. And right dead center in the middle of that, I got something that said, forgiveness is to accept the fact that the past cannot change. I love that. Perfect example of what I was talking about, right? Just wisdom. Thank you very much. Not just for the, for the love, but for a great comment. So in the middle of this conversation, when I'm cruising along and I'm feeling like I'm learning something and maybe, this is life-changing stuff. I got a text message that said, I just phoned you and you didn't pick up the phone. That message was from adult parole and probation from the state of Nevada. And people, I swear to you, I'm evolving, because I said, I shot back a quick one and said, yeah, what's going on? I hadn't talked to you in a while. Well, what can I do for you? You need to come see me. I said, okay. When do you need to see me? As soon as you can get here. I said, okay, I'll get down there as soon as I can get here. What's this about? I'll tell you when you get here. I said, okay. I thought to myself, well, I need to tell the person that I'm talking to that I got to get off the phone because I don't text and drive and do all of that stuff. But I thought to myself, you know what? I don't consider this a lie, but I'm not telling the person where I'm going. I just got to tell them I have to run an errand, because this is the kind of thing that someone that really cares about me is going to freak out until they find out exactly what's going on. But as I ran to put some clothes on, because this was quite early in the morning, I was getting some clothes on and I thought to myself, man, I haven't done a damn thing in 7 years. I have not done anything in the last 7 years that I could possibly get in trouble for. I'm not stressing out about this. This is going to be something stupid. And I'm not going to blow this up, because if you remember, people, this story probably sounds real damn familiar, right? Because this has happened to me before. So last time it was a survey or something that they wanted me to fill out. So I got in the car and I drove down there. And when I got there, I walked in and I said, hey, how you doing? I had a call that said I needed to come down here as soon as possible. What can I do for you? And the lady working behind the desk said, your name? I told her my name. And she said, oh, you need to take a random drug test. Now, all of my drug tests are random, right? They never schedule them. So I don't know exactly what the difference is. And I said, that I'm on the list for today. Like, I have to go take a drug test anyway on the other side of town. And she said, well, it is random. Sometimes that happens. But once or twice a year, we do a random from here that has nothing to do with the testing facility. I said, okay, great. I said, give me the cup. Let's do this. And she goes, well, I got to wait for a guy to come here because I can't go into a bathroom with you and watch this. An hour and 20 minutes, right? That I had to wait there. And that's not, it is what it is, right? It's part of life. It's part of life. But two funny things happened during that hour and 20 minutes. First of all, no one has ever had to pee as bad as I did by the time that guy got there, right? Because it was first thing in the morning. I had 2 cups of coffee. I hadn't gone to the bathroom yet. So I'm dying because, I had to put off, going to the restroom. The second thing that happened is about 6 other people had to come down for the exact same reason, because it is random. So I sat in the waiting room, which is empty all the time. I've never been there where there was somebody in it. And within about 15 to 20 minutes, there were 6 people in that room. And I could look around the room. I didn't have to look at pupils. I didn't have to smell people. I didn't have to do any of that. But I could look around the room and I could tell you that 4 of those individuals in that room didn't want to be there. And I mean, they didn't want to be there. And it was really kind of poignant to everything that we're talking about right now, because these were 4 individuals for whom hope was flying out the window. The longer that you're on probation without failing a drug test, missing a meeting, doing anything like that, the less often that you get tested. When I first got on probation, it seemed like it was, 3-4 times a week, and that lasted probably until close to Christmas. And then it got to a point where it was maybe once a week. And I got called up today, to go and pee in a cup. And I don't remember the last one. So it's obviously really getting to a point where they're not giving me a whole lot of them anymore. But a lot of times someone will get to the point where they only got to do it once every 6 months, maybe once every year. If you're on 3 or 4 years probation, you can get to a point where they hardly ever drug test you. And for a lot of individuals, that really becomes a trap, right? Because now they feel like, they're not going to test me anyway. If I get high today, I can wait 3 days and I'll be good to test. And the last time they called me was Christmas, or the last time they called me was, Thanksgiving or anything like that. I don't know the story of these 4 guys in the room. I don't know their story. I mean, I do. I know their story exactly, but I just don't know the details of their story. But there were 4 guys in there that just by the look on their face, people, I was looking into people's eyes that didn't have any hope. I was looking into people's eyes who knew that the end was near. They were either going back to prison or at least going to county jail. They were going to have to deal with the repercussions of whatever it is that they've been doing. And I've said this before on here. My father, Papa Scolo, used to say that there is no pillow softer than a clean conscience. Do good and fear not. If you got nothing to worry about, well, then you got nothing to worry about. And I was able to shoot off a text from the office to my loved one and say, well, I had to go take a drug test real quick down at the, adult probation. I don't know how long this is going to take. I've been sitting here for a minute, but we sat and text, back and forth while I was sitting in the room because I didn't have anything to worry about, but that feeling of being in there, and it was so stark, people. It really was. And by the way, I had just finished reading this dog study, right? I started doing the show prep at about 6 o'clock this morning. So I had just finished reading a study about hope and what it means. And I remember looking around this room and thinking, those are the whipped dogs that lied down. I'm looking at these poor sons of guns that know full well that the mistakes that they've made in the last couple of weeks or months or whatever are going to cook them. They had the room set in the temperature set in that room so that if it was maybe 2 degrees cooler, you could have hung meat in there. You know what I mean? Like, it was so damn cold. We're getting on that time of year here. I had on a t-shirt and I was regretting it. I was in there just like teeth rattling. And 4 of these guys were sweating bullets, literally, like sweating like pigs. And if a lesser version of myself, an older version of myself, would have taken some pictures, honestly, because it was just so amazing. And I would look across the room every once in a while at another guy that obviously ain't doing a thing wrong. He had a look on his face. He was sitting up like this, right? And every once in a while, he'd shoot me a grin like, the 2 of us figured it out, huh? Like, look at these 4 guys. And I took no joy, I promise you, in what was going to happen to those 4 individuals. If I had had a business card that said the lifeboat on it, I would have handed it to them. It would have been something they would have to look up in a while because I don't think, within the next couple of days that they're going to have internet access again for a long time. Hold one second, folks. Here. And which one would this be? This is Lord. Oh man. Lord Kiss Freak. I am I don't know. I honestly cannot utter anything intelligent. You know what I mean? There's just, what do you say to this kind of news? I love you, man. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I love you. You have been, from the very first day that I set a camera up on this desk, saw the wrong direction and set it up standing upright instead of sideways. You've been here, and honestly, Chris, you've been way more than a crew member on this boat. You know, you've been a friend, and I'm so sorry, my brother. I really am. You know exactly how to get a hold of me, and feel free to use that night or day if you feel like you need to talk or anything else. But it's we talk about this from time to time on the boat, and something. This is probably, yeah. I mean, honestly, it does play into what we're talking about. And here's the thing, people. We lost Cindy Lou, right? We did a show right after Cindy Lou passed away, and there is nothing quite as painful on this planet as losing somebody that you care about, and somebody that was important to you. And this isn't a religious channel. I don't beat my religious views down people's throat or anything else. I will tell you this: I am of the firm opinion that when you pass away on this planet, that's not the end, right? That is something that you can call me an idiot, but I am as sure of that as I am that there's a cat in this basket next to me, right? I don't need to see it. I don't need to touch it. I don't need to look at it. I just know that it doesn't end there, but it doesn't make it any easier for those of us that remain behind. And we go through times in our lives where we seem to cook along and everything is groovy, and none of those things happen. And then there are times where it seems like every single time you turn around, you lose someone else that you care about.
Yeah.
This is
the fact that that you do believe that is hope in itself.
Oh, no question.
I mean, and I know that some people don't have the spirituality part of it down, or even want to do that, and that's fine. But there is solace to be taken in some of that, because if you do believe that, then there's definitely hope. If not, there's still hope. It may be the person's in pain. I don't know the whole story. If the person's in pain, if it's been a long illness, or sounds like it's been a sickness by the way he was talking. Guess he's just got a few hours left to live, and I don't know if it was an accident or some sort of sickness. But the hope could still be there. It's hard to see it, and it really is in times like that. But Niall said a good one there too. Hope can be based on a single word. Hope can be based on a dying hug. Hope is precious. I mean, that's really well said, and that's really kind of sums it up, to be honest.
No, it absolutely does.
Yep.
I have always, every single time somebody that I really loved passed, and I don't know whether this is a flaw. I don't know whether this is a philosophy. I don't know what you call it. But every time somebody that I care about passes away, I almost feel a responsibility. I really do. I almost feel like the fact that I'm still here means something. Now, you can believe that we crawled out of a puddle. You can believe that this is just some cosmic, perfect storm that somehow created the human being, and that is fine. And if that's what you believe, then you're more blessed at the fact that you're still here. If there is no divine hand that is making these things happen, well then, holy crap, are you lucky, right? Of all of the things that can take you off the planet, you're still here. And I feel like every time I'm left here and somebody that I care about leaves, the ante gets upped. What I got to do with the time that I've got left, I feel like is an honor to all of those whom I've lost.
That's how I would have explained it exactly. The word honor. I'm always honored when I'm there with somebody. I've only been there a couple times when somebody passed that I loved, but both times it happened, It was you just felt like you were honored to be able to witness that moment.
And to have had them in your life,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah,
he
Chris.
got he got an infection in his heart that ate away at a valve that was replaced in the past, and it spread to his brain. It happened so fast that they couldn't stop it.
Oh man, dude, I'm sorry. What
Yeah,
hurt?
yeah, I can't begin to tell you how sorry I am, Chris. And it sounds like just one of those crazy things. And honestly, they're all kind of that way.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
when
not a
someone
whole lot.
passes, they
Yeah, there's not a
go
whole
ahead.
lot we can say to make anybody feel better on something like that because, we can just let you know we're here, and that's kind of what Tommy did already, and we are here, and I just really think that, yeah, and I know you're probably in your head's in is okay. I mean, I would vouch for that, but we're
Well,
here.
Chris is in a very good headspace since the day I met him.
Yeah.
His interview kind of hammered that home. Raven, I love Raven. This comment, the fact that everyone is here means they have hope, and that's a good thing. You know
Wow.
what, Raven?
Yeah.
What an awesome comment.
Yeah.
And it there's something hand in hand with what Niall said, because boy, is that just the truth, right? Hope can come in a million packages, but when you step onto the deck of this boat,
Yeah.
there's hope. There really is. I look at people that are living the lifestyle that we used to, and I pray for people that are still out there, and some of them by name, that are still using or still drinking or whatever, and pray that maybe someday they'll get some kind of an inspiration that leads them to want to quit. But I think Raven just nailed it. I don't care if you're high, you're here,
Exactly.
and there is a reason that you're here, and that is hope. I also want to do a shout out to Jason. Jason said, I got a comment today from Jason that said something along the lines of he had an opportunity to go back and watch the beginning of yesterday's show, and it touched him. And you know what? That it touched me deeply. I read that about 4 more times today, and as I said, when I said I'm blowing that up and framing it, I actually had that process started today, so it shouldn't be too long before I have that. That literally is a comment that I'm framing and I'm going to hang, because
Well,
it tickled me.
that comment that you just read from Raven, that right there, that's the kind of stuff that makes me smile because the simple fact is, you guys get it. You get it. And I'm just glad I'm here to see it and be a part of it. You guys just simply get it. That's all I can say. Honestly,
Niall has another comment. Niall says, hope is passed from one generation to the next. The trick is to know what it is and what it represents. It represents love. I do not know love, but I know hope. So I'm halfway there. You know what? Once again, I'm going to beg to differ with you a little on this one, because right now, Niall, whether you like it or not, I love you, brother. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not throwing that out there. I'm not saying that for effect or anything else. And I am honest to a fault these days. And I'll tell you right now, just to keep it real, if you had asked me this question in November, or maybe it was December, I don't remember exactly, and said, do you love Niall? I would have said, love him. I don't even like him. Right? In fact, I dislike him profusely.
Wow.
But when I was on vacation in Florida, I got to know Niall considerably better, and I'm not at all messed up to say that I absolutely love the man, and that's from the bottom of my heart, Niall, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and hope comes along with understanding, right? And that's the way I think about it a little bit. And once it's in love is the same way. Like something similar to what Niall said there a little bit is they do kind of go together, but it is a separate thing. And I'm kind of with. I don't know. You know what? I'm not even sure. I'd have to think about that one a little. That's a deep one that he dropped in there.
It is, isn't it?
That's a deep one.
Well, that's Nile for you.
Yeah. I mean,
Now,
it's
Nile doesn't drop anything that's not deep, but the guy says, Jesse, I'm doing great, bro. I'm still sober. I've been lurking on the couch, pretty tired, so I haven't been at the keyboard. Hey, guy, proud of you, man.
yep.
I really am. You want one of the great cliches of all time? I mean, one of the all-time greats. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single footstep, right? I believe that was Confucius. But the journey of the rest of your life sober starts with that first day, right? The golfer Arnold Palmer, was a very, very great guy. Donated a ton of money to charity. Just a great human being. He used to go and volunteer to go to places like Vietnam and all kinds of places with the USO just to go and see tours. He's just a good guy. But he was very famous for saying that the most important hole in golf is the first one, and you have to birdie it. And a reporter said, "Why is it so important that you birdie the first hole?" He said, "Because if you don't, you can't birdie all of them." Now,
oh my God.
In the history of golf, no one has ever birdied every hole, right? That it probably will never happen. But he makes a really solid point, right? If you're not shooting for the moon on the first one, you're wasting your time.
Yep.
Right? The one of the things that, by the way, same study, same article, not same study, but same article that quoted that study, talked about how you do the little things is how you do all the things. Right? If you're one of those cats that you get in your car and the floorboard of the passenger side has a bag of McDonald's in it, from March 2006, that's probably how you're doing everything in life, because the way you do the little things tend to be the way that you do the big things. And it may seem to you right now that you're not, well, I don't have 7 years sober, and I don't have 11 years sober, or I don't even have 3. I have said this a million times, and I will never change my mind on this. I'm always happier and more impressed to hear about a guy that's got 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because it's like a cruise ship, right? Or a rocket. A rocket's going to burn 60% of all of the fuel it's going to burn just getting off the damn ground. Because once that thing gets going, it doesn't take squat to keep it going. But to get that thing off the ground is going to take literally 60-80% of all of its fuel just to get that thing airborne. Right now, brother, you're getting it airborne. That first 24 to 48 hours is tough, right? I absolutely know that. I believe that. I've been there. But to me, it's so impressive. Yep. You drew a line in the sand. I have seen you say in the past, you know what? I can't get by 3 days. The hell you can't. What you mean is you haven't got by 3 days. I freaking promise you can. And I have every reason to believe that you are going to. Yesterday when the video was done and we finished up, the one comment from yesterday that just stuck in my craw and honestly grated on me like nails on a chalkboard until I went to bed was when you said, maybe I'm just stupid. Because you ain't stupid. You and I have had conversations. You're not stupid. You're not. There are times I'm too honest in life. There really are. But I'm telling you right now, brother, I would be honest with you. You're not stupid. In fact, you're a very intelligent cat. I'm proud as hell that you're sitting on the couch sober. So proud of you, you don't have any idea. Again, whether you like it or not. I'm proud as hell of you. And I'm hoping that tomorrow night I'm going to get to say that again.
Right.
And Niall will be joining us. People, don't forget that.
Yeah, Niall's here tomorrow night, guys.
Read Lord Kiss Freak. Did you see that comment?
I didn't, but I can read it if you want me to. I can read it out loud for you. I know you have problems reading that.
Yeah, it's my I caught the beginning of it and
trying to see where it's at here.
You know what? If I just hold this thing about this far back, here we go. For anyone that wants to send prayers, his name is Emery. And his wife's name is Julianne, I think it says.
I think that's what, yeah.
Or I may be mispronouncing that, but you know what? For those who pray, God will know what that name is. Yep. But the gentleman's name is Emery. and his daughter's name is Samantha. They're with him at the hospital. People, please, right? For those of you who believe, prayers for Emery. For those of you who send out positive thoughts, please do that. And for those of you that do neither, how about if you just let, Chris know that you care about him, and we can go from there.
I think the wife's name is Jelaine.
Jelaine?
It's spelled Guy, Laine. Ain't that Jelaine?
Yes, I think you're right.
I think that's what it is. But yeah, nothing else. That's a pretty name. I've never even actually. I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Name.
Never heard that name. That's pretty cool. But yeah, guys, go ahead.
Hey, Lady Fi Krista.
Yeah, she's. I was talking
good
to her.
To see you. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. Always good to see you, Fiona. Makes me happy when Fiona
yeah, guys. Tommy does research to get ready for the show, and he'll send me a topic, and he usually gives me like a brief, whatever he wants, somewhat what he wants or a suggestion of what the thumbnail should have in it in the title. And in the process of doing that, obviously I'm doing Google searches trying to find images and stuff. But like him, sometimes I'll come across things that, you sit there and you read and you really hadn't thought about yet. You know what I mean? And just certain things. And this one especially, the word, just do this yourself, guys. Type in hope and the danger of losing it, or something to that effect in your Google search, and see what you see. It's amazing the amount of attention and material there is out there on this subject. So why do I say any of that? Well, that to me tells me that that's one of the most important things in this life, because people are looking at it. They're wanting to understand it better. They're wanting to, just see those kinds of things. And I kind of put it in the title there, but one of them was a banner, and it said, hope is the enemy of fear. And that's true. That's 100. I never even thought about it that way, but it's true if you really sit and think about that. If you have that hope, that means that fear almost can't even exist next to it. Because if the fear is winning, you have no hope. I mean, it's one of those, you know what I'm saying? I know that's pretty deep.
No question.
That's deep, guys. I mean, I get that. I understand. It's just that I just wanted to share that with you, because it'd be really cool to see if you guys go and do that, and maybe get some response tomorrow a little bit, maybe see what you guys found. Because I really do think that that's a benefit to anybody that gets on there and does that kind of thing. And in case you don't know, there's actually a tab on Google, on your Google search. You can hit something that says images, and all it does is throw a bunch of images at you. So you can see like banners, book covers, and all those kinds of things. When you're looking for thumbnails, that's what I do. And it takes some time sometimes, but in that process tonight, I came across that, and that was that helped me. So, and that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, there's help everywhere. We just got to know where to look and be accepting of it when we see it. And
you got to look. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you feel like you don't have hope, usually one of the reasons is that we stop searching, we stop looking, we stop doing everything. There's another comment. Here's a true one. I was a hopeless dope fiend, and now I am a dopeless hope fiend. Thank you, Jesus. I love it. You know something? That comment is about once every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Someone will say that. I love that. I really do. It
really applies. It honestly does.
Yeah, it's super appropriate to everything that that happens here on the boat. It really is. But something, people, I picked the perfect subject tonight. I really did, and I'll tell you why. Because I know that I have stimulated my other partner, the less bobble-headed partner, into. I know his brain is cooking, and
you can tell by the comments.
And Niall, yes, by his comments. And Niall is a deeper thinker than I am. He is absolutely a deeper thinker than I am, and that makes for really, really great content when when we get together and Niall's got something on his mind. It's always a good thing. I told you this. I will continue to say this because it's truth. It's absolutely from the heart. They're my favorite shows, man. I love Wednesday night. It's From the Hip Lifeboat, right? We come in here, there's no script, there's no bullet points. Uh, and Niall can back me up on this, so can Mark. As far as putting the show together, we have about a 60-second show prep. Mm-hmm. We get on and do something along the lines of, so Niall, how you been? Good week? Yeah, good to see you. Is there anything you want to get out before we get rolling? Okay, then let's just go do this.
Make sure you're muted.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the show prep, right? Yep. So are you seeing us?
Yeah. Can you hear what we're saying?
Working well.
Yeah.
Is all the equipment working well? So this type of stuff that we do here, I mean, just by by going live 365 days a year, you're always shooting from the hip anyway. Even if you got a few bullet points or you know where you want to go with the show, it's one of those things where we come on here and we just talk. But when there's two people, or three people doing that at the same time, it's one of the reasons I think that the lifeboat is always, it's never stale.
Right.
Because there's people that can always sort of feed off of each other. But one of the things is that we've done, I don't know, probably 300 shows together, Mark and I, maybe more than that. And so we get into a kind of rhythm, and we usually I was telling Mark recently that I thought he's been on fire, and by the way, someone else told me this today, but thought that he's basically been on fire for the last week or so with just the comments back and forth. We feel like we're clicking in a way we probably haven't before, but we've never been uncomfortable clicking with each other. It's just gotten a whole lot better. But when we throw a third person into the mix, especially when we kind of cut them loose, when you do an interview, people, I ask what I want to hear, right? I structure the questions in such a way that I'm pulling out what I want this person to tell me. Obviously, it's their opinions and it's their thoughts, but I'm pulling out the thoughts I want them to tell us about. I want to know what they think about this or this. Well, that's not what we do on Wednesdays. Wednesdays with Niall is just letting it fly. And it's exciting because he's a super deep thinker. He's very, very articulate. And we agree, I would say, about 90% of the time. Maybe, 85, 90% of the time. But the fun happens in that 10 or 15%. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really when it gets to be fun, because proving that the world used to be awesome when disagreements were an exchange of ideas, right, instead of an exchange of curses or negative talk or all of the crap that happens these days. And tomorrow night ought to be gold.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a positive discourse, right? And I guess, to pun a phrase from our friend Mark Byers, it's in the moment. Nothing is scripted out. And I think what Tommy was alluding to there a little bit too is the fact that Niall, when he comes in here, we're able just to do that because it fits so well and it just kind of gels. And I think that, the response we get from those shows, just speaks straight to how good those can be. And,
yeah, no question.
And it's just one of those things that we feel very lucky that Niall was really willing and able to do that. And, because guys, and Joanne just put it in there what I was getting to talk about anyway. She's camera shy, right? And that and I have to say, that's me. And I talked about that a little bit before. I am literally the guy that flunked a speech class because I would not get up and give a 2 or 3 minute speech. I just couldn't do it. And I was of course I was in school, and I beat some of that. And YouTube's actually helped me more than anything, just to be honest. But I think the difference is I'm not looking out at an audience. I'm looking at a camera. You know what I mean? But after you do that for a while, then it does get in your head a little bit that, yes, you're still talking to all these people. Especially when your subscriber numbers go up. You know that you're progressively speaking to more. And Marsh said this. Marsh said this in my on his last show that I was on there with him, or 2 shows ago. Marfugel over at Marfugel TV. Adam said that. He said that, you know, I got 50,000 subs now, so I'm essentially speaking to an arena full of people. You know, and I never thought about it like that, but I was like, thanks, Adam. You just scared the crap out of me. You know what I mean? But, you know, I didn't say any of that. But, then, and, you know, obviously, there's not 50,000 there right that second. I get that. But on replays and stuff like that, it gets watched. Yeah. And it's one of those things, guys. And, you know, I just think that the way we do it, for the most part, you know, what me and Tommy do on the daily is not really scripted. We have bullet point. Usually, and you notice I said point, because typically it's one point. It's a subject, and we just roll with it. And I think that really does. And you guys have been, and we've been saying this a lot, but I'm going to continue to say it. You guys have just been the greatest thing that could ever have happened to, well, social media, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not saying that just to say it. You know, nobody's making me say that. Nobody's doing any of that kind of crap. It's just I really feel that way, and I know Tommy does too. Obviously. Hey, Joe, good to see you, man.
Always good to see Joe Birdwell. You know, if you're new to the lifeboat, go look at Joe's interviews. They're really awesome stuff, and I know his work schedule's been a little different, so we don't see him as much. But always a pleasure to see you, Joe.
Yeah, Brandon Taylor's in there too. Hi, Brandon. Sorry.
The only thing I watch is my language, and I have never slipped. Respect for you both. The next, the rest is on the table. Yeah, you know what? Now we're good to go. If you accidentally let one slide, we're not gonna lose too much sleep. I believe I cursed either yesterday or the day before for one of the first times on the boat. So every once in a while.
I've never cursed in my life. I just worked at a factory full of crazy women for 20 years.
Yeah. I've never heard you curse either.
That's right.
Yeah, and if I have to swear to that in court, I probably wouldn't. Yeah, and you know something? We're not at the top of the hour. We're not. We have a good solid 3 or 4 minutes left. However, when Lady Crispin starts talking about Vegemite, I usually start looking for the door. But what I'll do is I will pump up the tomorrow night show one more time before we end, because people, here's the deal. How long has it been since I said that? You know, you guys used to pick on me for saying that, and I honestly, there's like a little card here that says, "Don't say here's the deal." So all right, here's the deal. Tomorrow is the live with the Wednesdays with Niall. People, this is my favorite show. If you're ever going to invite anybody to the lifeboat to come check out what we do it on a Wednesday, because it is so damn unique. What we do here on Wednesdays is about the coolest thing ever. It's all about that white chocolate macadamia nut. Oh. See, that's now you're getting better. Yep. That I can deal with. So tomorrow night it's going to be the little knowledge with Niall on Wednesdays, which
Wednesday wisdom, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, Wednesday's wisdom, exactly. I think that's what that's called. Yeah. So it's showtime tomorrow night, people. No script. We shoot from the hip. Niall will try not to curse. I'll try to make the cat in the basket stick around. It'll be it's going to be a good time had by all. So please make sure that you're here. To everybody that is freshly joined the boat, I got a bunch of emails from a lot of you. Stop referring to yourself as new people. Okay? Stop saying things like, I know I'm not really a part of the crew. You're a part of the crew the second you step foot on this boat. If we haven't made that perfectly clear, let me say this one more time. When you step foot on this boat and you're trying to get sober, you're part of the lifeboat crew.
Yep.
There's none of that other crap. We don't do that. We're never going to do that. Don't refer to yourself that way. I'm not going to lie to you. I find it a little offensive.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
I really am.
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
saying. we really go out of our way to make sure that no one ever feels that way. So don't do it to yourself. This is where you belong, right? We're family. We love you. Don't treat yourself any different, because it's just not the way it is.
You only
And
knew
now, people.
Yep, you only knew the one time. And that's when you come in here and
That's
say,
it,
"Hey,
man.
I'm new,
For
guys.
real.
How you doing?"
When we say welcome, your crew. So don't say I know I'm not crew or any of that, because that's just downright ridiculous. Okay. So tomorrow night it will be Niall, myself, and my bobbleheaded partner. And man, I can't wait. I really can't. I look forward to this all week long. Yeah. So between now and then, about 23 hours from now, reach out and try to save somebody. And if that somebody is yourself, that's even better. Big shout out to the guy. Hey, I'm proud of you, my brother. This is the first, right? You said to me, I can't get by day 3. The hell you can't. You're about to. All right. So people, you know the drill, right? I am Captain Tommy Scoville on the other side of the glass.
Mark Wages.
And this is a squirrel in a basket. Say goodnight, squirrel. She did. Just didn't hear it. All right. Good night, everybody. We love you.